Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Krishna Rukmini, Jaya Satyabhama, Krishna Rukmini, Jaya Satyabhama. Jaya Gauranita, Jaya Gauranita, Gauranita, Jaya Gauranita. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivijakacharya Ashtottara Shatashi Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki ISKCON Samsapakacharya saved of the whole world Srila Prabhupada ki Srimati Tulsi Maharani ki Rantra Srimad-Bhagavatam ki Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Nitai Gaur Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 6, Conversation between Narada and Vasudeva, verse number 26. Namani Anantasya Hatatrapaha Pathan Namanyanantasya Hatatrapah Pathan Namanyanantasya Hatatrapah Pathan Guhyani Bhadrani Kritani Chasmaran Guhyani Bhadrani Kritani Chasmaran Guhyani Bhadrani Kritani Chasmaran Gam Paryantam Tushtamana Gatasprihah Gam paryattam stushtamanagata-sprihah kalam pratikshan vimado vimatsarah kalam pratikshan vimado vimatsarah kalam pratikshan vimado vimatsarah namani anantasya hatatra papatan guhyani bhadrani kritani cha smaran gam paryatam stushtamanagata sprihah gam paryatam stushtamanagata sprihah kalam pratikshan vimado vimatsarah kalam pratikshan vimado vimatsarah namani anantasya hatatra patan guhyani bhadrani kritani cha smaran gam paryatam stushtamanasgata sprihah kalam pratikshan vimado vimatsarah kalam pratikshan vimado vimatsarah Word to word meaning, namani, the holy name, fame, etc. Anantasya, of the unlimited. Hatatrapaha, being freed from all formalities of the material world. Pathan, by recitation, repeated reading, etc. Guhyani, mysterious. Bhadrani, all benedictory. Kritani, activities. Cha, and. Smaran, constantly remembering. Gam, on the earth. Paryatan, traveling all through. Tushtamanaha, fully satisfied, gadas priyaha, completely freed from all material desires, kalam, time, pratikshan, awaiting, vimadaha, without being proud, vimatsaraha, without being envious. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Thus I began chanting the holy name and fame of the Lord by repeated recitation, ignoring all the formalities of the material world. Such chanting and remembering of the transcendental pastimes of the Lord are benedictory. So doing, I traveled all over the earth, fully satisfied, humble, and unenvious. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The life of a sincere devotee of the Lord is thus explained in a nutshell by Narad Muni by his personal example. Such a devotee, after his initiation by the Lord or by his bona fide representative, takes very seriously chanting of the glories of the Lord and traveling all over the world so that others may also hear the glories of the Lord. Such devotees have no desire for material gain. They are conducted by one single desire, to go back to Godhead. This awaits them in due course on quitting the material body. Because they have the highest aim of life, going back to Godhead, they are never envious of anyone, nor are they proud of being eligible to go back to Godhead. Shri Krishna Rukmini Satyabhama ki, Shri Nitai Gauranga ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Because they have the highest aim of life, going back to Godhead, they are never envious of anyone, nor are they proud of being eligible to go back to Godhead. Their only business is to chant and remember the holy name, fame, and pastimes of the Lord, and according to personal capacity, to distribute the message for others' welfare without motive of material gain. Please repeat the translation. Thus I began chanting the holy name and fame of the Lord by repeated recitation, ignoring all the formalities of the material world. Such chanting and remembering of the transcendental pastimes of the Lord are benedictory. So doing, I traveled all over the earth, fully satisfied, humble, and unenvious. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Jnanatirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, chapter 6, conversation between Narada and Vasudeva. So we know the situation when Narad Muni descended and gave instructions to Srila Vasudeva about compiling the beautiful Srimad-Bhagavatam. And he said that because you have not written anything on pure bhakti, on pure devotional service, is why you're despondent, is why you're not feeling satiated and happy even after writing all the books. And that's how this is the history of Bhagavatam, how Bhagavatam came into existence, how it got compiled because of Narad Muni coming and instructing Vasudeva to write Srimad-Bhagavatam. And then in this chapter, in the previous chapter, he described how he served. So Vasudeva is asking Narad Muni questions. Please tell me more about you and how you got the Srimad-Bhagavatam and how you became a pure devotee and how you remember all your past lives. These were the questions that Vyasa had asked. And so Narad Muni is explaining his history, how he came in touch with those Parivijakaryacharyas, served them in the 4 months of rainy season, and how he acquired a taste for devotional service. And then he further explained how after the 4 months was over and all those pure devotees left, he was a single son of his mother. He was only dependent on his mother. He had only his mother, and somehow by the will of the providence, his mother also passed away due to a snake bite. And so he was left all alone. And so because he had learned about bhakti, about devotional service from those acharyas, he took up that process of bhakti. And so he said after his mother passed away, he proceeded towards the north, chanting and thinking and remembering about the Lord. And he passed through many villages, many great mountains, many forests, chanting. And then he explains, Narad Muni is explaining all this, that as soon as I started chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra or remembering the Lord's name intently, the Lord appeared within my heart. Actually, he got this, and after that he proceeded to the north. And then the Lord appeared in the heart, and so Narad Muni was thrilled, very happy, in ecstasy he went. And then he just appeared in his heart, and then after that he disappeared, the Lord disappeared. And then Narada tried a lot for Lord's appearance, but the Lord didn't appear. And then the Lord tells him that unless one is completely purified, he will not be able to see me. And I appeared in your heart so that I give you know what it is to see me, and you develop an eagerness to see me. And so you please continue this chanting and dancing, and then, one day you will attain perfection. And so like that, Narada is explaining his story. And then, soon after that, is this verse number 26. So here Narad Muni is describing that in his previous life, before he got this body, what did he finally do? This is the verse which is just one verse before he gave up his previous life. In the next verse will be, he gives up that life of a small boy, and he becomes, in the next lifetime, he becomes a Narad Muni that we are seeing here. That he has appeared, he's appeared in the form of Narad Muni. In the previous life is this verse, and this is the second last verse. So what did Narad Muni do? He says, Namani anantasya hatatrapa pathan guhyani bhadrani kritani chasmaran gam paryatam stushtamana gataspriha kalam pratikshan vimado vimatsara. So he's saying When the Lord appeared and he disappeared, he became so eager that he began chanting the holy name and fame of the Lord by repeated recitation, ignoring all the formalities of the material world. So how can someone chant and dance? Chanting and dancing is understandable. But how can someone ignore all the formalities of the material world? It's not. You have to maintain your code of conduct with people in the material world. How can you come to such a stage that you ignore all the formalities of we have so many formalities in whichever situation we are in. So it is explained that this chanting and dancing and thinking of the Lord is so nectarian and so full of happiness that if we can experience a drop of this happiness, then everything else in the material world becomes trivial. What are we doing actually in the material world? We are engaged in some activities. And all those activities that we are engaged in, finally we are trying to derive some pleasure or some rasa. So the pleasure or the rasa derived in bhakti yoga by chanting or by remembering is so much that the devotee feels so satiated and so satisfied. That is what it is written here in the verse translation. So I traveled all over the world fully satisfied, humble and unenvious. So when a person is so satisfied within himself by his chanting and by his remembering the Lord, as Narad Muni is saying, that he doesn't care for anything else. And everything else that needs to be taken care of is taken care by the Lord. This is the confidence that a devotee should have when he is engaged in bhakti. Krishna bhakti kaile sarva karma krita hoya. Everything else will be achieved. So you need not. So this is a very exalted stage of devotional service which Narad Muni had attained. But actually this is what all of us have to attain. Narada is our Guru, and we have to follow in the footsteps of Guru. Our parampara, Krishna, Brahma, then Narada, and then Vasudeva. We are coming in the same parampara. Currently, everyone is so concerned about his duties in the material world, right? But by taking to Krishna consciousness seriously, you will reach a stage one day that everything will be taken care by the Lord, materially and spiritually. Everything. You serve the Lord and all your desires are met. Of course, we don't serve the Lord thinking that Lord will take care of. Yes, Lord will take care, but I serve the Lord without any material desires, complete full surrender to the Lord, and then everything else. So this is the confidence that a Krishna Bhakti Kaile, by doing Krishna Bhakti, Krishna consciousness, everything else in your life will be set. So here, in the purport, Prabhupada is explaining what this Bhakti Yoga is all about and what it results in, which is what Narad Muni was engaged in. Now there are 5 important points or very important words that Srila Prabhupada is writing in the purport, which brings out the essence of this purport and the essence of what Krishna consciousness is all about. I'll read those places. The first point that Prabhupada starts the purport with, the life of a sincere devotee. The life of a sincere devotee of the Lord is explained in a nutshell by Narad Muni by his personal example. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, if you want to preach what you want to preach, first you practice. After practicing, you can preach. So Narad Muni personally practiced by his personal example, and now he is telling us for all of us to follow. So the point to be noted here is We don't have to just become devotees of the Lord, we have to become sincere devotees of the Lord. Many times, Prabhupada always repeated this. We have to become very sincere in our devotional service, like Narad Muni was so sincere. Anything that we do in Krishna consciousness, do it sincerely with full heart and devotion. Even a tinge, a little bit of, thank you, even a little bit of devotional service, but when done sincerely, of course, any devotional service done will have effect. But if it is done sincerely, it will have very quick effect. Prabhupada writes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepts, he's not expecting big things. Even Krishna, if you see, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, that's all that he's asking. But Yome Bhaktya Prayachati, if you offer him with love and devotion, that is sincere devotional service. And Mahaprabhu, what is he asking is even more simplified. All that Mahaprabhu is asking is, Prabhupada writes, simply sincere bhakti or sincere chanting of the holy name is all that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is asking. The simple, sincere chanting can please Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So whatever devotion service we are doing, maybe very small, weaving garlands, making prasadam, mopping the floor, do it with full heart, do it with bhakti, do it sincerely. So life of a sincere devotee of the Lord is explained in a nutshell. You can take this, like a summary or an essence is this verse. Explained in a nutshell, means in a very small manner, by his personal example. That's the first point. The second point, so what is the life of a sincere devotee? That is the second point. Such a devotee, after initiation by the Lord on his bona fide representative, takes very seriously the chanting of the glories of the Lord and traveling all over the world so that others may also hear the glories of the Lord. The second thing is, if you want to be sincere, you have to take up something not just seriously, very seriously. We've all taken up so seriously so many things in the material world, right? Our job, our family maintenance, and so many. Unless we are serious in our material world, we will not achieve perfection in that profession. You ask any businessman, is he serious? He'll say, I'm very serious. You ask any, everyone is very serious in this. Now that same, very seriously we have to engage in bhakti yoga. That is a sincere devotee. And what are those two things that we have to be doing very seriously? Two things here is mentioned. First thing, very seriously chant the holy name of the Lord. And the second thing is, not just chant, but we must preach also. Today we are in this position because somebody preached to us. So similarly, we must also preach. But before that, Narad Muni is explaining all this with his personal example. That is, he was himself chanting. So this serious thing, both go together. You cannot be only chanting and not doing preaching, or you cannot be only doing a lot of preaching. That will be like passionate preaching. And without proper achar and prachar, both should happen. So we must take up this process of, so what does it mean? We take up very seriously the chanting of the holy name. Prabhupada writes very nicely, chanting is very simple, but one must take it up very seriously. Two interesting words. Chanting is very simple, but you have to take it up, but one must practice it very seriously. So it is very simple. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Isn't it simple? Can anything be more simpler than this? They cannot be more simpler than it. But there is a but, that the practice has to be very serious. So what does it mean that the practice has to be very serious? Chanting has a process. And we have to perfect ourselves in that process. And that process of perfect chanting, there are three things. Number one, we must chant a little loudly. Unless we chant loudly, we cannot do proper chanting. Loud enough that we can hear. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is the first step of serious chanting. The second step is one must chant clearly. Loud. Second is clear. Hare Krishna, Rama. These are the three bija mantras. Prabhupada uses another word. Chanting must be done very distinctly. Very distinctly we must pronounce the name. So loud, clear, and the third thing is attentively hear. Every word, Hare Krishna. If you see this combination of three is so important, suppose you're not chanting loudly. If you're not chanting loudly, there's no question of clear chanting. Loud itself is not there. There's no question of hearing because you're not chanting loudly. Suppose you're chanting loudly, but you're not chanting clearly. What will you hear then? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. It's not clear, so here is not effective. Suppose you're chanting loudly and chanting clearly, Hare Krishna, Hare, but your mind is going all over. Again, it is not effective. So these three, loud, clear, and hear, constitutes very serious, takes up very seriously the chanting of the holy names. And then he preaches. So this is the second point. So first point is we have to be sincere devotees. Sincere devotees translates into taking up very seriously the chanting of the holy name. And the third point here. So when you take up and all these 5 points are connected. So it's a very nice summary of what is bhakti, how Narad Muni is explaining. So when you become like this, then the result is, if you have taken up very seriously the chanting of the holy name, the result is you have no material desire, but only one single desire. One single. In the material world, we have so many material desires. Sarva kama. The material world, everyone is full of kama. But here, when you take up serious chanting, you will find yourself being freed from all material desires. But one desire will be there very strongly, one single desire. And what is that? They are conducted by one single desire to go back to Godhead. Because everything else in the material world will seem so trivial, and then you will feel it's just like a child. And this is very natural. Just like a child has only one single desire. What is the single desire of a child? To be with the parents. If the father or the mother is not there, the child will immediately start crying. Isn't it? The child has no other desire. Parent is there, mother is there, child will be happy. Because everything else will be supplied by the child. The child feels, oh my God, mother is not there. Nothing else will satisfy the child. You give the child an ice cream also, the child will keep crying. So, because that's her natural position. The natural position of the child is to be with the mother. Similarly, our natural position is to be with Krishna. Now we are very happy, satisfied in the material world, in material engagements, because we have no realization that we have become separated from God, and actually this is not happiness, this is all a suffering. I do not have that realization because I am absorbed here in the material things. But when you have that, when you take up very seriously that chanting, the cleansing of the heart will happen, and when the cleansing happens, you come to proper knowledge, or this knowledge dawns upon us, I am missing Krishna and I must go back to Godhead for association of the Supreme Lord. And without him, that's why Mahaprabhu is saying, Yugayatam nimshena chakshusha pravrashaitam. I'm feeling the whole world vacant without you. And Prabhupada also beautifully puts it, chanting is like the genuine cry of the child for the mother. Just like a child cries when the mother is not there. So this chanting, when you take it up seriously, you'll feel like that. You'll feel that separation. So they have one single desire to go back to Godhead. That's the third point. And the fourth point is connected. It's about aim in life. Prabhupada writes, they have the highest aim of life going back to Godhead. It's the same thing, but then there is something else that Prabhupada is writing here. So this is something also very nice and worth noting. Is there anyone in the material world who has no aim in life? You ask anyone, he will say that, yes, I have some aim in life. Even, an ordinary person, a poor man will also have some aim in life. To accumulate this much money or to have this or that, something he will have. But devotees, and many people have many aims in life, but devotees have the highest aim in life. Now, if you're intelligent, an intelligent person should realize, oh my God, there is something known as highest aim in life. I was thinking to have a big bank balance or to have a big nice family, to have a big designation, to be a very powerful man is the aim on life. No, there is something known as the highest aim in life. And why it is highest? Because this aim in life, this is not possible in the material world. There's something far, far beyond the material world. And only an intelligent person can take to it. It is said, Krishna jai bhaje shei bado chatur. Who will worship Krishna? Only those who are chatur, very intelligent. Yajantihi, and in Bhagavatam it says, Yajantihi sumedhasaha. Who will worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Those who are sumedha. Sumedha means very intelligent. So actually only intelligent people can take up to this Krishna consciousness and know that there is something highest. So why is this the highest aim in life, going back to Godhead? Because no birth, no death, no disease, no suffering, no adhyatmik klesha, no adhibhautik klesha, no adidaivik klesha, all sufferings, miseries end. And enjoy life to the fullest extent. We have an aim in life. What is the aim in life finally? Whether it's to have a big designation as a CEO or be an owner of a big company or whatever. That aim in life is to be happy. The happiness in the spiritual world is like an ocean of happiness. Happiness here is like a drop of water. You see, this is the ultimate aim in life. The highest aim. That's why Prabhupada, it's the highest aim in life. And because now once you have that highest aim in life, I want to go back to Godhead. Prabhupada says, nothing more in this material world. I'm fed up with this material world. Of course, all these things cannot happen artificially, not imitation. We have to develop genuine interest in Krishna consciousness, which will come automatically if you have taken up, as it is written here, very seriously the chanting of the holy names of Lord. And so because this is the highest aim in life, two wonderful things happens. When you have this aim in life, I want to go back to Godhead. What is that? Number one, they are never envious of anyone. What will I do being envious of what he possesses? Envy means what? This is a point worth noting. Today, in the material world, everyone is envious of everyone. Or someone, at least we are envious of people who have more than us. Right? Am I right or wrong? You agree? We are all envious of someone because envy means what? He has something more than me. If you have the aim, and imagine becoming non-envious is such a wonderful quality, isn't it? So when you have the highest aim in life to go back to Godhead, what is it that I have to become envy in someone? I am going to get much more than him. I have something much more than him. He's a big CEO, he's a big prime minister, he's a big president, he's very, very powerful. He has billions of dollars, richest man. These are all immaterial. These are all it's worth dirt. It is like a stone for me. I cannot be envious of his possessions because I possess much more. You know the story of Sanatan Goswami and the touchstone Chintaman. You see, so happy you will become because you know you have so much more in the material world than what others possess. That is one thing. And now you may think, oh, okay, he is non-envious, understood. That means he is very proud of himself, that oh, he is going back to Godhead. Nor are they proud of being eligible to go back to Godhead. You see such wonderful qualities. He remains very, very humble, not proud and unenvious. See, just imagine the power of bhakti. That such wonderful results bhakti can give. And the fifth point, their only business is to chant and remember the holy name, fame, pastimes of the Lord according to personal capacity to distribute the message for others' welfare without motive of material gain. This is their only business. To take up this Krishna consciousness and to distribute. So, we all have so many businesses in the material world. And Prabhupada says, all the business that we do in the material world, it is basically summing up to eating, sleeping, mating, defending. It crystallizes to this form, eating, sleeping, mating, defending. This business of eating, sleeping, mating, defending can be done in all the 84 lakh species of life. So instead of doing the same business of eating, sleeping, mating, defending, even in the human form of life, is not very intelligent. Because the human form of life has been awarded to us for a different business. That business is to finish this material existence and to go back to the spiritual world. See, Narad Muni, imagine a situation, small boy, no father, mother also passed away. And how? Snake bite. Oh my God. It appears very inauspicious, right? Snake bite is inauspicious. And he had no relatives. Just look at his situation. If you imagine. But because he took to this chanting, he became carefree. He just started traveling all over the planet, carefree, happy, and this was the result. He took this as the only business, and this is why Prabhupada is writing, their only business is to chant and remember the holy name and to preach this message. So here we see how Prabhupada is writing the life of a sincere devotee, and that sincere devotee takes very seriously the chanting, and by chanting very seriously, he has only one desire, one single desire, to go back to Godhead, which he considers it to be the highest aim of life, and this is his only business. Prabhupada elsewhere writes, the prime business of a devotee is to chant the holy name of the Lord and to preach the message of the Lord. He says, the main business of the devotee is to chant and preach. He says, a devotee has no other business than to chant and preach. Like this, many, many different ways, Prabhupada is trying to emphasize that if we just take up this process of bhakti yoga, we will be very happy. Everything will be very happy in our life. And here in the translation, in the verse, it is said, what happens by this chanting and by remembering the Lord and by taking to bhakti yoga? Tushtamanaha, tushtamanaha, gataspriyaha, vimadaha, vimatsara. These are the results. You see the results also of bhakti, they are so wonderful. Tushtamanaha, you become fully satisfied in life. Narad Muni, lost mother, no relative, small boy, no one to take care, he became an orphan. Will an orphan be satisfied? But Narad Muni became Tushtamanaha. He became fully satisfied. So just hold on to this bhakti yoga, this chanting. Nothing in the material world can bother you. So Tushtamanaha, Gatas Priyaha, you'll be freed from all material desires and hankering and lamentation. Today, can anything, we are all hankering and lamenting, but no, you'll become Gatas Priyaha, completely freed from all lamentation and hankering. You'll become Vimadaha, you'll become prideless, without being proud, humble, and you'll become Vimatsaraha, you'll become non-envious. So such are the wonderful results of bhakti, which Narad Muni had attained, even while he was a small boy. Not that after he became a great devotee and a pure devotee in the next life. Even when he was a small boy in the previous life, he was born as a maidservant, he achieved the state. So all of us can take to this, can attain the state. It is not at all difficult. It is very practical. We just have to become very sincere in our bhakti, take up very seriously this process of devotional service, and everything else will follow automatically. Automatically, you will see your life becoming blissful, full of happiness. You'll have a wonderful, and everything else will set in your right perfectly well. So these are some of the things being described by Prabhupada in the purport. He's explaining the wonderful position of Narad Muni, what he attained when he was a small boy. So he had, we also have Srila Prabhupada as our guru. We just have to follow his instructions and everything. But very important, very sincerely and very seriously. Then everything is possible. We can become completely freed from all material hankerings, lamentation, and attain that blissful life, even in this life. Hare Krishna. Any questions or any comments or anything? Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, in our day-to-day life, how can we remember continuously the Supreme Lord, like practically?
How can we remember the Supreme Lord continuously? Right now, we are finding it difficult and challenging to remember the Supreme Lord continuously because by default, our default state is we have forgotten Him. So to remember the Supreme Lord continuously, we need to revive our forgetful memory. We have to, our consciousness is in such a state that it is changed. The first thing to remember the Supreme Lord continuously, the first step, is that you should be convinced it is possible. That's the first step. If you think, to remember the Lord 24 hours, this is, okay, it is said for some philosophical purpose, then for sure you will not be able to remember Him. Krishna is telling Arjuna in the Gita, Mam anusmara yuddhacha. He's saying, you remember me continuously and fight. So if you can fight remembering Krishna, is it ananyas chintayanto mam? Krishna is saying, so many places Krishna talks about in the Gita, ananyas, you should think of me continuously. Manmana, think of me. So first step, it is possible. The second step. So now how do I go? So if the goal is that, there has to be step-by-step process. So the first step is chanting 16 rounds very seriously, what is there in the purport today. When you chant 16 rounds offenselessly, that is chanting loudly, clearly and hearing, these 16 rounds will help you to clear your consciousness and to revive your consciousness and to bring you out of that forgetfulness that I have a relationship with my Supreme Lord. And He loves me. And if I love Him, I feel so happy. So like this, when you chant your 16 rounds nicely, attentively, you will be able to remember Him. Automatically, you will come to that stage where one day you will be able to remember Him continuously. And the third thing, now you may say, so I have to wait for 16 rounds perfection? That's like a long time. Parallelly, along with chanting your 16 rounds properly, Prabhupada writes very nicely, you should, he uses the word mold your life. So we have to mold our life in such a way that I am able to remember him always. So you think of him always as far as possible. When you're cooking, you think of him. You mold your life in like that. When you're walking to the bus stand or to an auto or in your house, you try to think of him. When you're drinking water, you try to think of him. When you're going to the washroom, you think of him, because these are all our free times. We are not doing anything. So in all these different times or different, you have to mold your life in such a way that you can think of him. And then it is possible that when you are engaged in certain activities, you will be able to think of him also parallelly if you mold. Prabhupada gives an example, the village woman. They're carrying containers on their head, water. But they're talking, they're doing so many different things, they're thinking, they're planning, they're talking. But the container on their head, without even holding it, water pot, without even holding it, it is going. Because that is unconsciously, it is happening. And they're doing so many things. So two things are happening. Similarly, you can be engaged in your day-to-day work, and you can also remember him if you have to put an effort. You have to mold your life in such a way that you can do it. It is possible. So we will end here. Grantra Srimad-Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanand.